What's going on, guys? This is Ehsan Khan, your recruitment mentor. And if you're looking to scale your recruitment business, then you're going to want to listen to this video very, very carefully. In today's lesson, what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about the structure of a candidate call. So I know a lot of you don't even like to make calls to candidates, and that's absolutely crazy. I'm going to show you why you are leaving so much money on the table when you have a CV in front of you that you're not calling. So no matter what niche you're in, no matter what positions you recruit for, you need to find out these 8 things from every single candidate to make sure that you're going to grow a very, very healthy, sustainable recruitment business where you're making 5 figures every single month on repeat. So let's get into it. Number 1. So the first thing that you want to know straight off the bat from every single one of your candidates is, what skills do you have? So a lot of you might be sitting there and thinking, well, why would I need to ask the candidate what skills they have when I've got their CV in front of them? Let me ask you a question. How many of you have applied for a job and you've put on things that maybe, wasn't necessarily the strongest skill that you had, but you put it there because it's something that you've maybe touched on before or you've come across? So that's what a lot of candidates do. They will emblemish their CV with some skills that they might not necessarily be strong with. Some people put down that they're experts within X, Y, and Z, and actually it turns out they've only got a few months of experience with it. And it's really, really important to know how much experience a candidate has in a particular skill set before you put them over to a role for one of your clients. So you want your candidates to tell you what skills they have. And if there's anything that's important for you and your client, then you want to pick up on those things. You want to ask more about those things. And their CV has probably come to you because they've either applied for the job or you found their CV on LinkedIn or a job board. So there must be some relevance. So you want to know, okay, why is it that you've put this skill in there, but you haven't told me that you do that skill? And that's where you start to see how strong they are with certain things and how strong they are with other things that they've put down on their CV. But on their CV, it just says that they do all of these things. So if you pass it over to a client, he might look at that and ask you how much experience do they have. You won't know. And they might also take that candidate forward for an interview and they will ask that question: how much experience do you have with this technology or this system or this process? And it says it on their CV. That's why you as the recruiter have sent the CV over and have convinced the client to have this interview with the candidate. But in reality, if you had just asked the question of how much experience do you have with these certain skill sets, then you'll be in a much better position to put the right candidates in front of your clients to make sure that you are looking like a professional that I know a lot of you claim to be. So that's number 1. You want to find out what skills they have from them, and you want to dig in deeper to the skills that are most important to your client that they say that they can do, and even potentially get some experiences or some examples of where they've utilized this. Make a note of that, and when you're on the phone to the client, then you can say, well, hey, look, they've used this particular technology to do this project, and that will be a great way to let the client really know and understand the type of quality that this candidate is, and that will help you to get more interviews. Number 2, you want to know what is their current package. So you want to find out what they're currently on. So if they're, for example, a contractor, you want to know what's their daily rate. And you also want to know, if they're a permanent person, not only their salary, but what is their package? What benefits do they get as being part of the company that they're with? This is really important, especially if you're dealing with people coming from bigger organizations. Larger organizations tend to look after their workers with these benefits. So if somebody says to you that they're on a 60k salary, they might also have 20, 30k worth of benefits as well that will stop them from taking your 70k a year role that doesn't have as many benefits. So these things are really, really important, not only to the client, but also to the candidate as well. So if you really understand what they're getting right now, then you can make sure that the role that you're putting them for is going to be better for them. Number 3, you want to know, and it's kind of linked to the second one, but you want to know what they want. So you want to know, what do they actually want in their next role? So what is the package or daily rate that they're looking for moving forward? And again, it's really important to ask about these package details, because if you're working a live role and you've asked your client what is the package and they've told you the package, then if they say to you, for example, we want somewhere where, it's got 70K salary, it's got medical and dental insurance, and, they even pay for my accommodation and relocation and all these things, then you can say, hey, look, that's not possible. With this role, that's not possible. And this is where it gets really powerful with your candidates. When you start telling your candidates things that they want are not available in this role, that's when you start to test what they actually want, what's most important to them. So this is a great way to find out, obviously, will they fit within the role that you're putting them in forward for? But then also you can start to play around and see what's most important for this person versus what's not important for this person, so that when I do bring them an offer, when I do find a live role which is, matches with their skill sets and the package that they want, that I know that they will take it. So again, very, very important. And it also shows your candidates the level of detail that you go into. Number 4, you want to find out about location. So for a lot of roles now, so for example, in the IT sector, anyone who uses a computer basically can work from home now. So location doesn't necessarily always have to be the thing that is the driving force in this new modern world that we're living in, but there's still a hell of a lot of roles where they do have to go in and they do have to be on site Monday to Friday, 5 days a week, or whatever the shift pattern might be. So it's not that location doesn't mean anything anymore. So I think it's really, really important to find out where they are currently based and how far they're currently traveling. So what is their current commute, or what is their current setup? Before, if somebody was working 30 miles away, earning 70K a year, and I found them a role that was down the road from them, around the corner from their house, but it was 60K, that 10K drop in salary, it's not even about the money. It's not even that they were calculating the difference between the petrol cost. It's more about the time and the quality of life. So that's why if you can find a role for your candidates which are closer to home, which are in a location which is ideal for them, then actually salary doesn't matter too much. The smaller things don't matter as much when they can save time and spend more time at home with their family. And then that's also a really big thing to sell on at the end. So if it is a position which is really, really close to home, maybe the salaries are close, 65 here and 65 here, or 65 here and 70 here, but he's got a counter offer. Whatever the scenario is, that's a really big point to sell on, is the location of this new role. Even if they're working from home, I'll tell you, there's some companies that have incredible offices, and actually people want to go into the offices once or twice a week at least. Even if it is an IT world, people are developers, people don't need to come in. People actually still want to come in for their mental health, for their mental well-being, just to socialize and meet people, and they'll want to come to a nice location and nice offices. So this is a really important one, to make sure that you're finding out the location. And again, if you are working these remote roles, where they're actually allowing you to find candidates from anywhere around the world, or maybe there's a European role, you need to find out, and you need to make sure that are the candidates comfortable working on that timeline, and are the clients okay with finding people who will work on that timeline as well. So location is a massive one that you are needing to make sure that you ask, but not just the location, it's everything that goes around that, the commute, how often they want to go into the office, etc. So you want to find out stuff about their location, the geographical location. So number 5, you want to find out about their home status, their family situation. So what do I mean by this? I mean, literally, you want to find out, are they married? Do they have kids? Do they live by themselves? Do they live with their mum and dad? What is their situation? Are they renting? Are they a homeowner? All of these things are very, very important. And the reason for that is because that makes a huge difference. Okay, so if, for example, there's a male, and this is going to be very generic, but in my experience, this is generally how things have worked, which is if there is a male candidate who I'm working with and I'm sending him forward for a role and he's married, please believe that the wife is very, very much involved in that decision-making process. If he works close to home and he's getting, you know, X number of salaries, but he has a further commute in the role that I'm putting him forward for, but has a better salary, it generally tends to be that the wife is the one who's pushing him to get the better salary. It doesn't matter too much about, from her perspective, him saving time. It matters more about the salary that he's bringing home. So it also works on the converse. If a man wants to come home earlier and work closer from home, or maybe he wants to work in a company which is going to give him the skills that he wants, or maybe he's more passionate about the work that he's doing in this company, but the salary isn't as good, or maybe even might be less, the wife will have a big say in that. And I've had to do this on many occasions where right at the start of the process, I've said to my candidates, have you spoken to your wife about this? Have you spoken to your partner about this? Have you spoken to your husband about this? Have you spoken to your kids about this? Have you spoken to your parents about this? Have you spoken to the people who are going to be in your ears about this decision that you're going to make when you make that decision? So you want to make sure that the conversations that they have right at the end of the process, they're having right at the start of the process. And it has happened where I've spoken to a candidate, they've spoken to their wife, and they've said, well, actually, we're not going to go forward with this anymore because of X, Y, and Z reason. And that's fine. We take them out, we find new candidates, they haven't even been put forward to the client. So have these conversations right up front. If I didn't mention that before at the start of this video, I want to say that now. So all of this happens right at the start of the process. As soon as you see the CV, it comes in, it's within your niche, it's within your vertical market, or you're working a live role, and these are the CVs that you found. You want to call them and you want to find these things out on the first call. And yes, I know for a lot of you that's going to sound like, you know, why are you asking about the family situation on the call? You're just a recruiter. Well, look, this is the difference between recruiters who make 6 and 7 figures a year and recruiters who make an odd deal, an odd placement here and there. This right here is science, right? This is psychology that we're doing here. That's what we do as recruiters. We understand the psychology of our clients and our candidates, and we make sure that they fit well together. So you need to know all of these things. You've got to be their best friend to make sure that you're going to get paid the amount of money that you hope that you're going to get paid for. Recruitment is a science. It is not an easy thing that anybody can do, right? So you need to know these steps. If you learn the steps, then it becomes easy, okay? So make sure that you are asking these questions. So number 6, what you want to ask for. So you've asked for skills, you've asked for their current package, you've asked for the package that they're looking for, you've asked about location and where they would want to work and all those different types of things, time zones, etc. You've asked them about the family. So now you want to ask them about what they want to do in their next role, right? So you want to ask them, like, what do you actually want to do, right? So I'm just going to put down passion, right? What is it that they want to do? What's the ideal vacancy for them? What's the ideal job? Tell them to describe it to you, right? And tell them to tell you, like, which companies would do that. And why do you think that's important? Why do you think it's important to find out, you know, what's the ideal role for you and which companies would you like to work for? Well, I'll tell you, the reason why it's so important is because, especially if you get a really good candidate, because then you've just found potential leads. You found someone who knows his market better than you know the market, right? He's studied, and he or she, by the way, I should say, he or she has studied, done X, Y, and Z to get to where they've got to in their career. And they know much better than you where they would fit in well and, you know, obviously what they want to do with their careers. So what this does is it then opens up some avenues for new companies that you can then reach out to. Or even if you've got these companies on your database already, you've got a CV that you can send, which is highly targeted. And you can say, I've spoken to this candidate. He does X, Y, and Z, or she does X, Y, and Z. And they've actually asked me to approach you because they would love an opportunity to work for your company. They've said X, Y, and Z, because you're going to ask, why do you want to work for them? And you're going to tell the client that these are the reasons why they want to work for you. So that's why this is super important. Number 7, you want to ask where they have interviews. So again, we're getting to the end of the candidate call now, and this shouldn't take more than about 15 minutes to get through all of these steps here. So what you want to ask right at the end is where they have interviews already. Why? Well, it's very simple. If they're interviewing at certain companies, it means those companies are looking for people. If those companies are looking for people, then it means that you can send your own people and you've got a fresh lead, a new lead where you can send your people and have a potential vacancy. Most, I would say 30-40% of the placements that we make are done by asking candidates where they are interviewing. Why? Because most of the roles that they're going forward for are through recruiters, and that means that those companies will work with the recruiters and their live vacancies. And if you follow my vertical market specialist model, which you should be, then you've got a whole set of candidates that you can easily send over and fill in this position. So that's why this is super, super duper important. I know a lot of people struggle with getting this out of their candidates. It's actually one of the easiest and most fun things that you can ever do. And we talk about it all in the Money Making Academy, which is my 6 weeks training program to help you start earning 6 figures every single year from your recruitment business. And if you've enjoyed this video and benefited from it, then make sure that you subscribe, you like the video. And the word of the day. So the word of the day is the word I want anyone who's followed all the way to this part of the video. I want you to, if you followed it all the way to this end of the video, then I want you to leave a comment below. And the word of the day is going to be cleanser. Write cleanser in the comments below if you've made it all the way to the end of this video. Guys, thanks so much. I hope this has helped. And if you are interested in getting that next step in your recruitment journey, taking your recruitment business to the next level, or like I mentioned at the start of this video, if you're looking to get your first placement, then make sure that you book a call with me. I'll leave a link in the description below. You can book a call with me. It's not anybody else. It'll be actually with me, where I'm going to help you understand exactly how to become successful as a recruitment consultant. Thanks so much, and tune into the next video.